So welcome everybody to the first universal grounding of the new year. Welcome, 2025. So I'm just kind of sensing into this group space. And again, I did a healing. Um, I've been fortunate enough to do healings on very auspicious days. We did one right on November 5th on the eve of the election, and I've never felt more masculine, heavy, dense earth energies than in support of the session we were doing all the way up to New Year's and Eve. And this session, I'm just kind of sensing in lighter, more ethereal, uh, more joy-filled, um, a lot of celebration energy of really honoring your time here today. Um, Part of my mission statement um, is to serve the earth and connect us all through this life force that, or universal force that follows the principle of as you heal, the earth heals. And so the guidance of source is celebrating and honoring and say, if you show up in whatever you're doing, whether it's this work, whether it's your own personal meditations, whether it's your own communities, we're going to meet you halfway. And sure enough, in my experience over the years of doing this, things like Trinity Essence, things like new structures just constantly show up. So I cannot wait for what January and the rest of the year is going to provide, even though it seems like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of challenges, a lot of tough times, and there will be. When you trust, when you find that faith, you absolutely positively know you will be supported through it all. So there's a lot of that cheering section going on. And so I want you all, especially for those of you who are new, to really sense in to this group field. And you may not be able to get any kind of sensing of what it is for you, and don't worry about that. It can feel light, it can feel airy, it can feel nothing at all, and everything in between. So here in this space, like sacred space between worlds, between time and space, there's this void, the 0 point energy that's filled with possibility. It's a focal point for our meeting room, and there is an actual cave at the base of Mount Kailash, a very sacred cave that was used in ancient times. Caves were used as resonance because they reverberate. Can you imagine chanting in a cave? And the sound healing? Sound healing is so powerful. It's filled with sacred geometry and resonance and psychic vibrational frequencies that follow intention. And so we're meeting in a cave-like atmosphere, but it's between worlds. It's also known as the Crystal Cave, but we have our own specific room, and it serves a purpose of evolution, evolving us, evolving the world. It's where Source meets us. Source is a team of guides that are based in Divine Mother energy, which is pure creation, but we also are balanced by Divine Father energy, the Master Healers, Christ consciousness, and of course, Mother Earth and the elementals. This is pre-shamanistic energy. It is the ancient energy of the cosmos, the star lineages supporting the Earth's evolution. But I want you to meet a very special guide. So the Angel Jophiel has been working with me for, well, since I was a teen. Why? That's another story for another time. Basically, I needed it. I needed this shepherding, especially in really challenging times. And so she's here with us, she's here with you, and she's going to come into your system on the count of 3. So, and I'm going to ask her to really extend and amplify her presence so you can get a sense of what an angel feels like. So she's coming into your system on the count of 3, 2, 1. She generally comes in through the crown and settles into your spine and heart, and I'm asking her to amplify. And it's hard for the angelic realm because they have to get really dense to get a sense of what that feels like. I know what it feels like to me: pure love, home, sense of grace. My eyes water when I feel that kind of purity. Thank you, Angel Jophiel. And so she'll be with us throughout the rest of the session. She is the angel of illuminating beauty within, perfect for this goddess type work, perfect for creating the kind of atmosphere where we get to see what we can't, get to see these hidden subconscious patterns that are really causing a lot of stumbling, a lot of blocks, a lot of negative patterns that trip us up. And so the Angel Jophiel really is a critical role in not only universal grounding, but every single time I meet with you in person, every single time we meet in online groups. So thank you, Angel Jophiel, and thank you to all of you for allowing me to be a conduit. I apparently did this in many, many, many past lives, but like you, I am a karmic human being working out my stuff just as fervently as all of you. So my past, my present, my future self is here. My present self is getting just as much work as you are. My past self, who did this uh, many, many lifetimes, is really the one probably calling the shots, as well as probably my future self. So, and is joining your past, present, and future self. We're working across timelines. So, first thing we're going to do is really tap into that sound vibration by chanting the sound of Om. The sound of Om is the sound of creation. It's the sound of the divine. And what it does is it physicalizes the divine within your body through resonance, through vibration. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths in. And on the out breath of each of these 3 separate breaths, we're going to chant Om, elongated through the length of that breath. Are you ready? First breath in. Om. Second breath in. Om. And the third breath in. Om. Chanting also massages your nervous system, especially the parasympathetic nervous system, really opening up a space of relaxation, of calm, to prepare you for what we're about to receive. And so the next phase, what we're going to do is really bridge down into grounding and bridge down into the center of the earth and bring up this universal awakening. I call it liquid nutrition. But first and foremost, because there are new people here who haven't done this work before, I'm going to take a moment to update your grounding cord. Your grounding cord was given to you at the time you came into the planet, and so it's calibrated to that time. But of course, the planet has shifted and changed. You've shifted and changed. So we're going to upgrade your grounding cord to one of high frequency. For those of you, it's just going to make it easier to ground. Like, like upgrading and updating your apps. We're upgrading and updating your grounding cord app. There we go. For some of you, that just really opened up your root chakra. And even if you've had this done before, my goodness, we're shifting, we're changing all the time. So is the energy on the planet. Yeah. So let's give it a test drive. So I want you to put your focus on the base of your spine, and we're going to stretch it down through the chair, the floor, the ground you're sitting on, all the way through the sub-basement, the top layers of the earth, into the regular layers of its geology, the granite, the crushed rock, the stone, the water tables, all the way into the molten core. And here at the very center of the earth is the heart of Gaia. To me, she looks like a crystalline ball. For others, she feels like a big, strong, warm, beating heart. So we're going to plug into her like an electrical socket plugs into the outlet, or more appropriately, like an umbilical cord plugs into mother. For those of you living in this modern world, of course, we know how disconnected we are from the planet, from Earth, from our mother, from each other. The source of all our problems is this disconnect in one way or another. And so the work of universal grounding is ultimately to point you back to a wholeness at a time and place where 99% of human existence coexisted in relationship, not just to each other, but to all the earth and all the cosmos. We had this transparency, this embodiment, this natural vibrancy that thrived off of frequency and lived in a vibrational state 24/7. Didn't even have a name. They call it an animated way of life, but back then it didn't even have a name because it was the norm. And so we're working back towards that, and however long it takes, because our ancient self already know, and that's the calling we get. And it's getting easier and easier. We're opening up to our gifts. We're opening up to remember, but in like fractured, compartmentalized way. Why? Because when we broke apart, we were fractured. We were separated. So there we go. So now we're stretching into, there we go. For some of you, it needed a little bit of time to connect. There we go. And now as Earth, what I'd like you to do is breathe back up this liquid. To me, it feels like moss golden energy. Breathe it back up through the layers of Earth, and we're going to slowly pull it into our physical form. There's also a localized consciousness of form that is a vibrational body, but we want to pull it specifically into our physicality, into the fascia, the tissue, the fluids, the oxygen in our blood, the bone marrow, into every cell and atom, starting at the tops of our feet to our ankles, slowly percolating up into your shins and calves. Ooh, moving pretty slowly now. For some of you, we need to take some time. Move into your knees, thighs. And coming into your all-important pelvic region. Your pelvic region is important because it's the seat of all your organs. It is the seat of creation where your genitals lie. It's the seat of release because of your colon. Coming into all your organs in your midsection, paying attention to your stomach, your lower intestine, your kidneys. For some of you, it's really going into your liver. There we go. Percolating up into your large intestines, your lungs, your rib cage, following your spine up into your physical heart, your organ of the heart, into each of the chambers, and up into your higher heart, the thymus, into your shoulders, down each of your arms, forearms, hands, palms, fingers, especially of you who use them for a living, just really energizing them with this liquid gold, this frequency of the earth that is awakening, that is helping your body remember its interconnectivity, its animated essence, its presence, its embodied way of life that it's long forgotten. Up into your neck, skull, brain, eyes, ears, nose, into specific areas of your brain, your pineal, pituitary, into your third eye. We're going to take a pipe cleaner to clear out that third eye for some of you, and up into the crown. And we're going to extend it all the way up into the galactic sun. It's going to take a while to get up there. There we go. I don't know if any of you felt that. And there's some tingling going on in your scalp as this beautiful clear light. And for some of you, it's violet, starting to percolate down. So we're going to let it join with this earth energy and infuse it together in this vortex of swirling. Yep. Starting at the crown. Because it's not enough just to raise your vibration and be in light and love if you're not anchored in the earth. Because we are, yes, we're divine beings, but we're having a human experience. And if we don't anchor our awakening in the earth, earth is going to continue a status quo, right? So we're pulling it back down into our bodies, joining it together, infusing it into our fascia and tissue. It's in our shoulders, down each of our arms, hands, palms. Infusing this light with the physicality down into our chest, midsection, waist, pelvis. It's like flooding this luminescence in, into our thighs, knees, feet, and all the way down to the center of the earth, where it's establishing a remembrance of flow. Our ancient ancestors existed on this flow, with this flow, and there's various names for it. You know, the field of awareness. Some call it the matrix. I don't particularly like that name, but I have to give Keanu Reeves in that movie credit. He personally calls it a documentary, but it's served its purpose in showing the illusion to a lot of people who may not have been exposed to that before. It's also called the ocean of awareness. This flow is how we learn to be interrelated with each other in a way that when we start manifesting, it stops being me, 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 me. We realize that the reason we can't manifest is because when we stick an intention out into the universe, it affects everything else. So everything else needs to kind of correlate and intercede and go, okay, well, if I give you this, then it's going to affect that and that and that and that and that. So there is a wiser, higher vision and higher reasoning for everything based on this interconnectivity. So the more you can understand your wholeness, your oneness, your interdependence with everything else, actually easier it becomes to manifest. Because you're taking all that into your awareness, into your intentions. Beautiful. Okay. So that process when we meet online in our weekly online groups called Transformation, and there's another one called Embodiment. We do this every session. And for a lot of us who have done it many, many times, it sometimes only takes a couple minutes. Sometimes we spend 10 minutes. Sometimes it becomes a light body activation, depending on, again, what the universe and the forces of source deem that we need at that time and at this point in our human and light body evolution. And so we constantly get updated and upgraded, recalibrated, realigned. The process of transformation isn't one and done. It's a lifelong process. And who knows how or what we're going to be realized in our lifetime. It could be a lot. It could be just fractionary because we are infinite, timeless, boundless, limitless beings in this human body. Ancient cultures knew that, thrived off it, lived off it, but slowly eroded into what we are experiencing now as human consciousness on in separation from itself. I'm going to sense in to see what this new, and it's new. So I love being challenged because the energy is completely different. And so I'm actually having to kind of relearn how to meet it. It's very light, it's very ethereal, it's very filled with grace, happiness, joy. There's a lot of smile to it. There's a lot of awe and wonder that really encourages and inspires you to live in this state, not as a means of bypassing. What I don't like about a lot of spiritual practices now is it bypasses the need to go into the dark or transformation. Those of you who have participated, we go there. It's often spelunking that we go into the dark, but we do so in a space of grace and supported by the divine. Because why? We're still holding it. We're still holding these patterns in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, in our greater energetic anatomy. There we go. So let's go into the center of the earth again and start here. And what it's showing us we need today. The lack of hope. If you pay attention to social media, if you pay attention to the news, if you pay attention to streaming services, entertainment, songs, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of violence, a lot of fear, a lot of true crime stories. And so there's this sense of trying to get a better word for it. Detached hopelessness. Actually, it's detached faith. We've worked on hopelessness before. It's a detachment from faith. Well, of course it is, because this is what we're going to start working on in the month of January. So when you're detached from faith, you don't realize your own power, your own divinity, your own eternal presence that can, when it's in its fullness, when it's completed this journey of transformation, of transition, of realization of your um, eternal infinite self, faith is just a part of the process. But why do we have this lack of faith, this crisis of faith? Well, these ancient patterns that are matched and meeting our current reality in humanity that says, well, I don't trust. I don't trust humans. I don't trust myself. I don't trust government. I don't trust the news. I don't trust healthcare organizations. I don't trust the earth because look at climate change. There is a crisis of faith. So we're detached from this nuclei of faith that is the key ingredient. And maybe I'll find a better word for it because faith is really tied to religion. As you can see, I try not to use terms like God. Instead, I use the divine because God has so much baggage and connotations. You ask, 20 people what their version of God is, and you get 20 different versions of God. So I'm using source. Source is the mystery where God and Jesus and divine mothers and all our goddesses and deities pull from as individual expressions. You are an individual expression of source that has a unique droplet of purpose, of gifts, of intuition, that is part of this wheel of life. This individual spoke that, when attached to other spokes, form this tapestry of life that is a part of this greater universe. But you're individual, part of the whole. And so this detached faith doesn't know. Doesn't know itself. And so there's a sense of loss of innocence, loss of magic. But even then, it's detached, disconnected, disassociated. And that is that pointing directly to that period of separation thousands of years ago, where humanity was co-opted over a course of 200, some say 600 or 700 years. So it was a long period of time where you could say we fell from grace if you want to follow the biblical story, but basically we shifted it and devolved. So we had to disconnect. Because if we were fully present in our magic, we would have had to hide during the dark times, what that is recorded in history, which is wise people, elders, even too poor, too rich, were all persecuted, executed, shunned, pushed out, stripped of their vocations because it conflicted with the patriarchy of its time, or the colonialism that invaded these lands where medicine women and wise elders were the leaders, where matriarchy was an integral part of how society was governing itself. And so they were all in opposition to a patriarchal rule. So they were systematically degraded and even demonized. We don't have healthy feminine role models, not in the Bible. In fact, they've been relegated to myth and symbolism. And it's wonderful to keep these myths alive, but even these myths sometimes are written wrong, tarnished, polluted. So the only way to really access these memories is to clear out the separation, the trauma, the pain, the fear. And we can't, because there's this layer of detachment, kind of like a sticky paper on top of accessibility. So we're going to go into this layer of detachment. Yep, and that's doubt. There it is, doubt. This is human doubt. No, I was waiting for it to clarify itself. Everything is networked. Everything is networked together. You can't, it's like skeins of yarn. If any of you have knitted and you throw it in a basket, and all of a sudden all these skeins kind of get tangled up, and you pull one and it actually knots everything even tighter. So everything is networked like rope, twines of rope that are tightened and tightened and tightened, and then strung together into two stronger and bigger rope. If you pull on one, it just tangles up the rest. So we have loss of faith, we have loss of innocence, we have not knowing yourself, and then we hit upon this doubt. That's detaching from your ability to do anything about it. So this doubt prohibits motivation. It prohibits the kind of faith and trust needed to really manifest any kind of intention, and to remember that you can manifest instantaneously. Law of attraction only works when it's built on a foundation of pure belief. But if you dig deeper into your ancestral history, you're going to run into the witch wound. If you dig deeper into your incarnational history, you're going to run way deeper into this place of separation that has its ancient roots in human existence, stretching back thousands and thousands of years. Some say Atlantis was 1,100 years ago. Some say Atlantis existed 1,000,000 to 900,000 years ago. We don't really know because its history is lost and covered over. You only get glimpses of it through entertainment and shows like Ancient Aliens and stuff like that. But you can find it. Like this work that I'm doing is Ancient Aliens. It is the ancient ability to access our gifts in the now. But I'm going to be brutally honest and confess, I even doubted and have doubted it. Those of you who've known me for a long time know that this has gradually evolved, and I've gradually come into more and more information. I needed to. I had a huge ego, huge ego. I was in television for 25, 27 years, huge ego. So my gifts trickle in. And I'm actually very grateful for that. So I can find humbleness day by day, year by year, decade by decade. So Source has been working on this pattern of doubt. So we're going to repattern it now. Ooh. And for some of you, it's in your third chakra. And of course it is, because your third chakra is all about control. And if you can control yourself through fear, through lack, through self-sabotage, through resistance, through avoidance, through denial, through outright blind spots that you don't even know are there. Some call it shadow work because until you bring it into the light, you don't know it's there. You call it shadow work because it has dark connotations. Yes, it does. We can't deconstruct fear unless we go into it. And it teaches you that fear is really just a pattern that you have learned to fear, that you can unlearn to fear, and you just go, oh, hello, fear. And then next time it comes up, you meet it with much more confidence and grace, but you don't know it until you go into it. And it's a gradual process. But this control aspect of your third chakra says, no, I'm not even going to open that door. So we're going to point at the third chakra. Yeah, stubborn resistance, ancient human. This is an actual protection layer, and it's only going to open for those who are ready. I'm sorry, but I'm not in control. If you still need this protection layer, it's going to stay in place. But I'm going to put in structures that will help it break down when and if you're ready. The angel Jophiel is working with you to give you exactly what you need. No, no, more, no less. Why? Because if you break down your protection layer too soon, it could actually be damaging because you're not ready. You're going to feel too safe, unsafe, because this light will pour in. And when light, what most people don't realize is when you bring light into your system, it actually triggers what isn't light. So it can trigger the fear. It can trigger the pain. It can trigger the anger. So do you see what's happening in our world today? There's a lot of fear and anger, a lot of division, a lot of disruption. Well, we're bringing in more light. It's triggering what isn't light. So I look around at the chaos and the turmoil, and I go, yeah, that means we're shifting, we're transforming. And it's a part of the transformation process too. If you don't already know what the transformation process is, pretty sticky. It's pretty challenging. It's pretty up and down like a roller coaster. Why? Because we have to bring light into these dark places. And when we do, it's going to be triggering. And this triggering teaches us to gradually let go of our discomfort zone at a pace that we are ready. There we go. Your third chakra just relaxed. There is a lot of disbelief out there. So much so I can't believe we're addressing it, but we're addressing it again through through this lack of hope, this lack of faith. We're slowly getting into the doubt that has its roots, has a lot of trauma there, but today we're just focusing on this detached layer. It says, yes, I'm behind glass, but I can see there's lack of faith. I can see there's lack of hope. I can see there's lack of innocence or loss of innocence. And um, this huge, huge pane of glass that we stand behind that says, I doubt it all, that any of this exists. I don't know what Betty's full of crap. What is she talking about? She doesn't know crap. Here's what I learned. But here's the thing, your worldview is created by the place you grew up in, the environment you grew up in, the churches you went to, the schools you went to, the people you hung out with, the way what your parents thought. That's who you think you are. And the process of transformation is deconstructing that so that you can be your authentic self. And your authentic self, like I said, is an individual expression of the one that has infinite potential, infinite possibility. But this layer of doubt says, yeah, F no, no way. I doubt any of that exists because of everything that the world has shown me so far. So we're breaking down doubt, pattern of doubt that is linked to lack of hope, lack of faith, loss of innocence. It prevents you from really knowing yourself. That is tightening up your third chakra. This holds a lot of suspicion. So it is it is the basis of mistrust that is permeating throughout society, filter into every single aspect. Now, I doubt the way the pandemic was handled. I doubt the way uh, um, news is or isn't biased. I doubt healthcare. I doubt government. I doubt education. We got to remove these books. I doubt man and the division that's going on psychologically, emphatically. And so just think the seeds of this doubt came from this place of separation, this great separation. It is mirrored in the zodiac. It's mirrored in ancient traditions, um, ancient Egyptians, Maya, Hopi, the Inca elders. It's in astrology. It's in um, Hindu religions that talk about the 26,000 year cycle. So it's pointing to a lot of old traditions. Refer to transition. That during this great separation, we became rooted in fear, in greed, in dishonor, inhumanity, in violence, in hate, in war, in plagues, in dis-ease, gradually over time. And it hasn't left us, has it? But it's starting to break down. And the reason is because of this call. Bring in more love, bring in more light. And you'll eventually hit this God and Goddess wound that says, I don't trust. I don't trust the divine that misused their power. And maybe you're one of them. I'm raising my hand. I know it was me. That's why I'm here doing this work to kind of make amends. Karma is about things playing out. It's a law of cause and effect. Whether you believe it or not, these universal laws exist, whether you know about them or not. There we go. Something just released all the way down your spine. So I'm going to do a little Shakti breathing and clear anything out that's left in this pattern of detached doubt, because we want to break down this doubt. And as you break down this doubt, it's going to open you up to find new levels of hope, new levels of faith, find that innocence, find the place that wants to be a part of the connected, animated, relational earth that your heart already knows is home. I'm going to do some Shakti breathing. Mhm. This is going into the timelines. There's something called time streams that interface the collective that are kind of similar to these cycles of de-evolution, re-evolution. There we go. Beautiful. And it's pointing specifically at this layer of doubt that is preventing you, like sticky glue from really opening up that control. Because that control says, yeah, when we first went into it, no, I need this protective layer. But for some of you, this protective layer was your prison. I heard from some of you that were talking about it earlier before we started. Okay, one more Shakti breath. Yeah, 2025 energies lighter, more grace-filled, more ethereal, stronger. Can access more oomph than ever before. That's my sense anyway. So now coming into integration, it's very important to integrate. Why? When you're dimensional and you're working on a dimensional level, on a dimensional scale, you are interconnected to everyone and everything. That's a given. Dimensionally, you're connected to the stars, you're connected to a butterfly, you're connected to, of course, all your ancestors, all your past lives, your communities, the earth itself, the plants, the water, the air. And so it's really complex. And so when we ask Source to help us integrate, we've already moved around pieces of the puzzle. Some we took out entirely as it relates to this layer of breaking down doubt, in whatever capacity each of you needs. So now we need to put those puzzle pieces back together. And you know when you're not integrated, when you feel um, um, lightheaded, spacey, maybe foggy. You could have aches and pains. And if you need more integration after this, there's integration sessions on the YouTube site, I believe. Yeah, I think advanced integration is on there. Integrating in all space, all time, all realities, all realms, all dimensions, interdimensionally, physicalizing it into your system and catching everything up. Integrating a brain and the nervous system. Integrating the chakras and energetic bodies. Organs and pathways, especially the kidneys. So I'm seeing that doubt was fracturing to your belief. It fractured your faith. It fractured your hope. It fractured your innocence. It fractured your knowingness that can recognize truth. Because truth is actually that which never changes. So there is absolute truth. It does exist. It doesn't exist in the human conditioned world of illusion, of perception, of separation. You can only access it through meditative type processes to find that core place of authenticity, that which never changes, your infinite self. But this layer of doubt says that doesn't exist. Why? Because this scientist, that researcher, this academic says it doesn't. He's creating what's called your life field. Your life field is the sum of all your life's experiences. Of course, we need to go into that. Integrating what's called your intelligence system. Your energy system interacts multidimensionally, and it does through its own intelligence. Through the skeleton and your organs and your brain all have different intelligence functionalities and how it works with each other as separate and also as a whole. So we're going to update, integrate. Yeah. Deconstructing doubt, huge right now, because misinformation is part of the reason why we can't unite. If you don't trust other people, if you don't trust organizations, and organizations are built on mistrust, period. So how do we find unity? How do we find a voice to change? How do we find activism and advocacy if we don't trust each other? We don't trust the organizations. We don't trust information. We're deconstructing doubt to build back faith and belief and hope and create the space and what we call freedom for that to arise. Because doubt sits on top of us like limitations. It's separation consciousness that has the vibration, the dissonance of holding this pattern like a wet, heavy coat within your system that you probably didn't even know existed. You're just like, this is just the way everything is. No, it's not. Integrating your luminous egg, which is your dimensional scaffolding, and the rest of your system, overall system, and all of consciousness. Oh, integrating your cellular consciousness, your genetics. Ooh, the genetics got a nice little shift there. Yeah. See how important it is to be specific? Can't just always go in and say, hey, source, just do what you think you need. You're learning by being specific how intentional you are, how you can empower through your own intention as you learn about your anatomy, as you learn. They're laughing at me because I've resisted learning specific anatomy because it's too complicated. So they're laughing at me. But as you learn about your own wisdom, your own strengths, your own abilities, start realizing that your intentions are so powerful. Your awareness is your superpower. Your lack of awareness is how you suffer. Your expectations are restricting. Now bringing in heavy therapy. This is going right to your psyche, psychological body, mental body, emotional body, bringing in clarity, bringing in kind of new insights. You'll know this is working when you get this light bulb moment about some piece of self-doubt or doubt about maybe some external or internal. This didn't specify. So, especially when we're doing public, it's applying to you personally and how doubt is being held in your system. So you could have this light bulb moment when maybe typically you used to doubt and now you're going, you're questioning it. Or you found some new insight about something that just totally wiped out your doubt. Like I do every time we tackle a new subject, I dive into it and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know about that. And I just light bulbs of awareness. Those of you on a time schedule will probably be going 5 minutes long because what I want to do is we're coming into what's called the Truth Tower, the Tree of Truth. It's how I started. And in this Truth Tower, we're going to bring in the opposite. So when we totally clear doubt, we transform it in all its aspects. What filters up, it's like we're clearing away the restriction and constriction. We're transmuting it, transfiguring it. And your authentic self that believes, that hopes, that faith, that has faith, that knows its innocence, that knows its magic, right? starts bubbling up. It's already there. You don't have to call it forward. There isn't any ascension to it. It's already there. It's just covered over. So this freedom allows you to be it, express it. So we're going to bring in upper dimensional blueprints to, as a reminder, to enhance and augment this new belief system. So we're just going to call it enhanced belief. Going to open up your curiosity, that awe, that wonder, that childlike awe and wonder. Doubt says that doesn't exist. Totally just limits you, cuts you off, restricts, constricts. Belief says, I wonder. Miracles come out of beliefs, right? So we're opening up the world, opening up your world to miracles. Miracles are really just something that's never really happened yet, but they could have happened in the past. And the potential and possibility, anything is possible. Doubt says, nope. Miracles. Say yes. Curiosity. Belief. Faith. Hope. Your system is soaking up this vibrational coherence, like luminosity, filtering in, like we just open the blinds, threw open the shutters. And adding what's called awakening structures. Awakening structures are specifically for pulling you out of the illusion. The illusion was, I'm stuck in doubt. Awakening structures bring you into this place of belief, of hope, of faith. And it's something that's going to grow in time, depending on each of your development, depending on the doubt you're holding, the amount of doubt. This is definitely something you can play again and again and again, because doubt is so multi-layered. We doubt ourselves, we doubt the world outside, we doubt our families, we doubt our faith. We're going to go into big time. We doubt the divine. And here's the thing, psst, everything is divine. Everything is divine consciousness. It's made, it's coming in from mystery. It's manifesting in to become manifested into form. And this form is vibrational. Everything vibrates. So everything is divine of some form or another. It has a sacred geometric constitution. It's made up of waveforms and electromagnetics. Truly fascinating when you start learning about it. So we're opening up that door to learning. We're bringing in belief, activating, downloading, re-remembering, rebalancing, realigning, reattuning to belief, whatever form each of you need. It's like it's adding some enchantment where before there was none. It's beautiful. I love this process. So you can't really get to repatterning awe and wonder and curiosity in any kind of lasting form unless you clear out what isn't. So that's where we start. We start with, where isn't it light? Working with the divine, working with our higher self, working with our past self that are stuck in all this conditioning, working with our present self that is living in it. And again, we're going to go just a couple minutes long. So I want to give your system time to restore itself, to Remember, you're just remembering. This lost innocence has only been lost. It's covered over by this doubt, by lifetimes of doubt, and in certain cases, thousands of years of doubt, past lives where it was the norm. In fact, we're living in a culture, a society that we call quote unquote modern, but is filled with doubt. It's predicated on doubt. Patriarchy says matriarchal balance doesn't exist. The norm was built and conditioned into our personalities. We don't know any different unless we go exploring, unless we open up the doors to new awareness by breaking down the pillars of what we thought to be true. And doubt is one of them. Doubt said, yep, I'm not even go looking because I know that it doesn't exist, that it's not possible. So here we're soaking in new belief, soaking in return of curiosity, of awe, of wonder, possibility. And of course, laying the groundwork for miracles. Jophiel coming in, gifting you all with seeds of belief, like a light rainfall, or like little crystal gems. Because they're, again, doubt is huge, very big pattern, and there's different aspects of it. So these seeds are going into those darkened places, little lamps, little lights, little flames, to light the way to plant new growth, to tickle curiosity when it's needed, to maybe have flickers of awe and wonder that get sparked by experience, maybe encouraging you to do more, to kind of shut off your phones, to turn off the TV, start talking in community or walking in nature or joining communities, diving deep into books, finding the lost faith and pleasure again. And we kind of all lost when this whole age of smartphones put it all in our face. You go out to dinner now, how many people have their nose stuck in their phones instead of talking to each other, laughing, sharing stories, playing, creating art? This belief is a restoration, rejuvenation, revitalization, remembering what we once were and have yet to be. Beautiful. Thank you, Angel Jophiel, for the gift of these seeds of grace. We'll keep on giving, like little sparks and flames and droplets of water, pure water. And we always end with the sacred mantra, which is a prayer. It's a prayer that has Sanskrit syllables in it, and this prayer has specific meaning. It's asking us to be moved from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May there be peace and freedom on the earth, and may we be those conduits. It is truly a call to awaken, to let it reverberate in, around, and through you. Let it be your clarion call. Om Asatoma Sakamaya Tamasoma Jadirkamaya Nityoma Hamcham Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Guryo Namaha Hari Om. Filling up the space with love now to enhance and amplify all the movements, all the shifts, all this beautiful grace filled with belief, these seeds, these sparkling seeds of, um, of grace that have been planted by the angel Jophiel, love enhancing and amplifying it all, and also adding gratitude. Gratitude for the time that you took for this today. Gratitude for the guides that have met us, the divine mothers, the master healers, the divine fathers, the Angel Jophiel, Christ consciousness, Mother Earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this team just called Source that has gathered to help us. And thank you for allowing me to be a conduit for it all. Taking a deep breath. Bring you up and out of this space of grace. Closing all doors, all windows, all orifices. It is done. It is complete. So it is, so it is, so it is. Until next time, be blessed.